Modern zine fans probably are familiar with the award-winning Rust Belt review, but did you know Sean Knickerbocker has had a couple other books? We're going to take a look at them right now.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. O God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fiant, oh fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely.
Hey everyone, it's Tom. It's FANzine Live. We are looking at, I guess you would call them new releases. This is wrapping up my work with the Cartoon Crossroads Columbus Hall. We're going to take a look at the work of a gentleman named Sean Knickerbocker. Where have you heard of Sean Knickerbocker before? Well, this is an issue that I actually haven't had a chance to read yet, but this is Rust Belt Review. He has brought together artists of all sorts to work with him. In fact, one of his more recent issues was an Ignatz-awarded winner. So he's got really good stuff, has terrific taste, does a great job telling kind of a slice of life type thing. So Sean was one of the first people I ran into at Cartoon Crossroads Columbus. In fact, he was the absolute first. He had not only copies of Rust Belt Review, but he also had some of his older work that he had done, not in the, well, they were anthologies, but they were not multi-creator anthologies like this. But he had his other work, his older work, and this is simply by him, Sean Knickerbocker alone. So I'm going to put Rust Belt Review off to the side. He had a handful of books available. I picked up two of them. One of them is called Killbuck. The other one was called Rust Belt #4. And he described Rust Belt. I think Killbuck was his first thing that he had done. And then Rust Belt was the real predecessor book to Rust Belt Review. Killbuck, we'll take a look at this one. He has a great sense of how to construct a book. We'll start with that. Still has paperback, still ending, he does a real nice job taking the feeling of a zine and making it, well, how would you say, dressing it up to make it look like more than just some photocopying. Still has this hand lettering, as simple 2-color. Actually, in this case, it's only 1 color. But he's smart enough to use kind of a navy blue ink as to give a nice touch on this. It's a well-told story, but it's not just a story. It's actually an anthology. I came into this totally cold, and I really should have read this in the back. It's an honest portrait of young people living in an impoverished rural America. It's coming-of-age glance into the lives of these kids, together at odds with each other in the world teenagers struggle with literal and figurative paths they take. And it captures what it means to be young, lost, and stuck. It really does get that kind of Midwest malaise that so much of, if you will, the Rust Belt has in this day and age. Where I got lost on this was that while the characters are recurring, and there's an element of growth through there, this is not one linear story. This is a bunch of vignettes. This big panel kicks off the front of the different vignettes. And it took me about 2/3 of the book to realize that. So then I went back and read it again, and it made so much more sense. So you read each of these as an individual vignette, and you get a sense of what's going on in the story. He does a great job with his artwork of kind of that Midwest desolation, if you will. Big fields being fenced off, a lot of farmland, and just kids screwing around and doing stuff they shouldn't do. Playing cards, drinking. getting some drugs. In this case, they break into a guy's house and decide to party in it, trying to relate to mother. Trying, and the mom doesn't really have time for the kids. Kind of an element of melancholy to this that you wouldn't fully expect. Yeah, life working in a convenience store. But occasionally you also get some nature, because there is an element of quiet. So I really enjoyed this. It took me a little while to kind of get my brain wrapped around his narrative technique, because I mistakenly thought this was going to be one linear story, and it wasn't. Once I figured that out, everything else kind of clicked into place. Good stuff, Killbuck. Then, and I'm going to spend some more time on this one, Rust Belt. This is kind of his next iteration. This was his personal anthology. And this is a single story, very similar construction. You notice he's got his end page there, he's got his end page there. That one had white paper, kind of navy ink. This is more of a newsprint style, cream paper. So it gives that kind of newsprint feel to it. The book itself is only slightly larger. So we're still kind of in that manga size. I'll pull out a copy of one of my comic book size books. You can see this stuff was a little bit smaller than the standard comic, but it reads real well. Again, when you've got cartooning as relatively simple as his, and line work as simple as his, and shading definitely as simple as his, it makes it so that the individual pages really still do shine very well. So here's the story on this one. It's called Internet Persona. This whole thing is one story. And I read this one first before Killbuck, and I think that's kind of what screwed me up with Killbuck. The long story short is, and we're looking at 2018 on this gentleman trying to be an internet YouTube influencer type, spouting off the right-wing take on the culture wars and the like. And his wife, I don't think, really buys into what he's doing. But, you know, he's getting views and he's keeping busy. And as long as it's not happening in the house, because she kicked him out into the truck to do his videos, they coexist. Is getting, she says, I think my video's gone viral. Very exciting about that. But he's got this guy named Burnt Toast who he follows. Burnt Toast gets in touch with him, says, hey, I'm coming to town. Why don't we get together? We discover that Burnt Toast is really a racist SOB. Our guy decides he's going to sneak through and talk to him. But so he goes to Burnt Toast's talk, realizes that he really buys into a lot of what the stuff is doing. Burnt Toast has his guys out there filming all of the controversy, because of course controversy gets eyeballs on the internet. And in this case, has a real good sense of how the digital age works, how the social media age works. It turns it on to a human level. Then they get together and they decide, hey, let's do a video right now where they kind of mock up a scenario. And in this case, it's about what they call stolen valor, where this actor, I mean, these are all volunteer actors, is faking being a veteran. So they go through and make the video. The guy's all excited. He goes, wait, isn't there a contract or something? Aren't we working together? The guy says, let's just play it by ear. I'll keep you posted. And he's like, oh, okay. But they take off. He's left behind. Wife comes in and says, you know, oh, he's just a troll. His politics involve upsetting folks. And he said, is he going to pay you? And he said, we'll play it by ear. And he goes, you know, I'm not some dumb country roo. And then he leaves and says, I'm going to bed. And guess what? By the end of the thing, he's not paid. He was used. He is some dumb country roo. But the implication is there. Pretty impressive. It's very well told. Yeah, this is the beginning of Rust Belt review. Knickerbocker is just totally knocking it out of the park with a not exact real reflection on what it is to be in what I think their protagonists would call real America these days. It's a very good book. Not exactly inspiring, but sometimes you need to throw the mirror up to what reality has to show you. So let me know what you folks think about Killbuck, about Rust Belt, or about his follow-up stuff, Rust Belt Review. I will have information on how to order these in the show notes. Leave a comment if you're so inclined. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to FANzine Live, and of course, tell your friends, because Rust Belt Review, Sean Knickerbocker's work, is now officially award-winning. He is really good at what he does, and I think he deserves all the support we can give him. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Tom. This is FANzine Live New Releases. I will catch you next time.